today's highly competitive and fast-changing business environment, short-term financing and effective working capital management are essential for maintaining financial stability and operational efficiency. This is especially true in the technology industry, where rapid quick product obsolescence and volatile demand make liquidity management critical. Hi, we are Team 15, and the purpose of this presentation is to show and compare the short-term financial strategies of these four firms: HP, Cisco, Intel, and NVIDIA. By examining their financial statements and key metrics such as net working capital and cash conversion cycle, activity ratios, and profitability ratios. The companies, as I mentioned, are HP, NVIDIA, Cisco, and Intel. The problems and solutions that can be identified and solved with this study and work are the biggest issue that was found in Intel, which support strong operational problems in 2024, negative operating income, significant net losses, and extremely high cost of revenue. Um, the solutions came from comparing standardized indicators across all companies. This benchmarking helps identify where investment is the safest, and which companies create the most value, and where urgent improvements are needed.
Okay, I'm going to start by explaining the profitability ratios, which tell us how efficient companies are at generating profit from their sales and assets. When we analyze HP, NVIDIA, Intel, and Cisco, we can see some of very market difference. Okay, first we have NVIDIA, that is undoubtedly the most profitable company. It is net margin and EBIT are extremely high compared to the rest, reflecting its dominant position in the semiconductor industrial and especially in the artificial intelligence market. NVIDIA combines very high revenues with relative low cost, which market it the best performance in the group. In contrast, we have Intel that present the most serious situation. It has very large operating and net losses, which is reflected in entirely negative profitability ratios. This indicates that its cost structure is inefficient and that it is not managing to convert its revenue into profits. In fact, also in Intel has similar revenues to Cisco. It is cost of sales is almost double. It is cost of sales is almost the double. Sorry, which destroy the margin operational. On the other hand, we have Cisco. Okay, position. The other hand is Cisco. Cisco position itself as a stable company. It doesn't have margin as high as Nvidia, but it maintains solid profitability, good operating margin, and highly net income. It can be considered a mature company with a stable and control business model. And finally, we have HP that has positive profitability but lower than Cisco and much lower than Nvidia. Even so, it remains consistent and show moderated efficient in its cost management. In summary, Nvidia it has a clear leader in profitability. Cisco is stable and solid. HP profitability HP profitability but modest, and Intel in a financial crisis. This contrast helps us to understand how innovation and cost control directly influence the ability to generate profit. Listo. Okay.
I'll continue with activity ratios, which show us how well companies manage their assets, inventory, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. Here, here too, there are significant differences among the four companies. First, going with HP. HP has fairly dynamic activity because it manages physical inventories and computers and also printers. Its inventory turnover is higher than the companies like Cisco or Nvidia, which are less dependent on large quantities of physical products. This means that HP replenishes its inventory more frequently. Then we keep going with Cisco. In the case of Cisco, the company maintains an intermediate turnover, neither as fast as NVIDIA nor as low as Intel. Cisco is very efficient at paying suppliers, which complements its major operations structure. Then we keep going with NVIDIA, that has much more efficient accounts receivable turnover. It collects payments faster because customers are usually larger with technology companies or manufacturers with clear payment capacity. This contributes to its very good liquidity. And finally, we go with Intel. Intel, different from the others, has problems with activity ratios, and its turnover of inventory is pretty slow. Accounts receivable turnover are also unremarkable. This is consistent with their overall situation. A slow-moving inventory and a sluggish collection intensify the pressure or the liquidity and profitability. In summary, I could say that HP has a pretty good inventory turnover. NVIDIA is fast and highly efficient collection. Cisco is stable and balanced in their activities, and Intel it's the most slow and has an unhealthy inventory turnover.
Well, I'm going to explain the networking capital management ratio, um, and which is the difference between the current assets and current liabilities. It's the use if a company has enough liquidity to cover this short-term obligation. First, Nvidia has a strong and very healthy net working capital. Its current assets far exceed these liabilities, indicating a dominant position in terms of liquidity. And this not surprising consider this profitability has it's a very efficacious cash conversion cycle. Well, Cisco has a present and solid and stable net working capital, consists which this provide has a measure a company. It can operate and pay the short-term obligation and maintain available capital without problems. Um, HP, for this part, has a positive but higher net working capital. This means that it does have liquidity, but managing such large inventory, and this tend to require more working capital to operate. This is not a risk, but it also doesn't have excess and liquidity. And, and Intel has a more vulnerable company in this networking capital. It's precarious due to this loss, high cost, and its cycle slow cash flow. This can limit their ability to fund operation, make investment, or maintain inventory without financial resources. And in comparison, NVIDIA and Cisco has a strong liquidity. HP has a moderate but functional liquidity, and Intel weak liquidity, and he has a operational risk.
Okay, now let's talk about the cash conversion cycle, also known as CCC. This indicator shows how long it takes a company to convert its inventory into actual cash after selling and collecting payment. There, now let's talk about the company HP. HP has a relative long CCC because it manages a lot of physical inventory and depends on seasonal sales cycle. Between inventory collection and payment to suppliers, the cycle is longer than the other companies we analyzed. Now, NVIDIA. NVIDIA has one of the shortest cycle of all the companies we analyze. This is because its products are in very high demand. They sell very quickly and its customers tend to pay properly for their products. NVIDIA practically converts its inventory into cash almost immediately. Now, Cisco. Cisco is has a really efficient CCC. It is not as short as NVIDIA's, but it managed its payment to suppliers well, and its accounts receivable turnover is stable, which keeps its cycle under control. Okay.
Now let's see Intel. Intel doesn't have a really great CCC because it has a slow inventory levels, accounts receivable that take a long time to convert to cash, and a receivable short payment period to suppliers put pressure on cash flow. Intel takes much longer to generate cash from production to collection. Now, a really quick conclusion of this is that the best CCC is NVIDIA's because it has a very fast cash flow, um, and a stable CCC is Cisco, and a long CCC is HP. And for last, a problematic CCC is Intel.
Okay, now I want to briefly explain what the graph in our analysis shows. First, in the profitability radio graphs, the contrast is very clear. NVIDIA completely dominates with a very high margin and outstanding efficient. HP and Cisco remain in positive range, but at much lower levels, while Intel appears with the worst value, even negative, confirming its poor operating situation. The other graph. And next we have the activity radius when we observe how the company management its assets. HP has a high inventory turnover, which is normal because it handles physically products in large volume. NVIDIA excels in account receivable turnover, collecting quickly and improving its quality. Liquidity, sorry. Cisco remains at intermediate levels, and Intel again lags begin with slow turnover, which affects its efficiency. In the cash conversion cycle graph, we can distinguish the time it takes each company to convert into cash. Here we have show the short cycle and meaning it's recover its money quickly. Cisco has a moderating cycle and HP a longer one due to its fiscal inventory. Intel present the most problematic cycle, taking too long to complete this process.
For my conclusion, this project really allowed me to understand in a much deeper way how essential working capital management is for companies in the technology sector specifically. Even though HP, NVIDIA, Intel, Cisco have different operations, they are belonging to the same industry. Their financial realities are completely different. The difference that are between them come down to how effectively each firm manages liquidity, short-term assets, and operational efficiency. What I personally take away from this analysis is that a strong financial performance is not only about generating revenue, it's about managing resources in a strategic way, controlling costs, and maintaining the flexibility that is needed to innovate in such a fast-changing industry like is a technological one. Overall, this study helped me connect the financial indicators with the real business outcomes. I really put in practice what we learned theoretically in the class. It made pretty clear how the short-term financial decisions directly shape long-term competitiveness and stability. And that will be all for me. Thank you.
Intel. It has an operating income a little bit more of $400,000, which proves it is cost effective and efficient. The company stands out for its ability to adapt to competitive markets, control its resources, and maintain positive margins through processes optimization and management of its traditional lines like computers and printing. HP remains a stable, strong, and competitive company within the technology sector.
NVIDIA maintains a very short cycle, allowing it to recover cash quickly and operating with stronger liquidity. In contrast, Intel show uh, managing its inventory and payables. Understanding this difference helped me to no otra vez, otra vez. Okay. Okay. Well, one of the indicators that stood me No, otra vez. One of the indicators that stood out to me during this analysis was the cállate, Rolando, ¡ta madre! One of the indicators that stood out to me during this analysis was the conversion cycle, as it clearly reflects each company operating efficiency. NVIDIA maintains a very short cycle, allowing it to recover cash quickly and operate with strong liquidity. In contrast, Intel shows a much longer cycle, highlighting a change in managing its inventory and payable. Understanding this difference helped me see how a single indicator can significantly influence a company's ability to sustain its operation and maintaining profitability in the short term.
And conclusion, this analysis allowed me to better understand how the financial indicator reveal a company's true situation. In particular, the EPS or earning per share caught my attention because it can be a key tool for evaluating the ability to generate value for shareholder. The analysis showed who NVIDIA excelled in this industry thanks to the operational efficiency and strong financial structure, which is reflected in this high net income and operational income. And this explains this high EPS as a company convert a large portion of this revenue into the real profit. And when I compare it to the other companies, I could see that NVIDIA's grown, and this is sustained and driven by global demand for emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, as well a high EPS also demonstrate the market confidence, which increases its attractiveness to the investor and strengthens the competitiveness.